Good evening and welcome to The Frame, an initiative of Access Framingham. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We start tonight with ongoing financial matters here in the city as Mayor Charlie Sisitsky's recommended municipal budget for the upcoming fiscal year has been submitted to the City Council, and it includes $172.6 million for local schools. Sisitsky told the school committee during their meeting at the Memorial Building Wednesday night that the request that they unanimously approved on April 3rd was included in his submission for fiscal year 25. If approved by the City Council, that budget would represent a roughly $7.8 million raise, or 4.74%, from the FY24 school budget.
That'll be the third year in a row as your mayor that I've submitted recommended budget for the school department that is consistent with the vote of the school committee.
It includes around $86 million in state aid, though Section 70 assistance only rose around $943,000 compared to last year's school budget, making the process to develop this year's budget more difficult, according to officials. That process has seen multiple revisions in recent weeks. The school committee's goal of around $176.1 million from last month has since been dwindled down following cuts within the school district's central office, the leveling of most department budgets, and further tweaks for school transportation. Following those decisions, members of the school committee made it clear that they were not willing to recommend any further deductions.
This will stop the need to have to eliminate more positions, and I think it's so important that we keep as much staff as we possibly can to help our students.
The City Council's review of the FY25 budget submitted by the mayor will begin on Tuesday, April 30th, during their meeting at the Memorial Building. On last week's episode of The Frame, we mentioned that the city's planning board was set to hold a public hearing on a proposed apartment complex located on Howard Street. Well, that's since been pushed back to next month, as the planning board will now hear a presentation from One Howard LLC during their meeting in mid-May. One Howard's plan is to develop over 130 units across 6 floors at the current parking lot adjacent to the Armenian Church of the Holy Translators. Planners from One Howard, which is a part of the larger City Realty Group based in Boston, are seeking multiple permits. During the April 18th meeting at the Memorial Building, though, Planning Board Chair Christina Johnson noted that not enough members were present to properly conduct that hearing.
And I just wanted to apologize to the petitioner as well as members of the public who came tonight. This is an unexpected outcome here where we just don't have enough we have enough members to convene a meeting, but because, there's a member that has already missed a meeting, and we always extend that courtesy to any petitioner to make that determination. So that's why we just didn't know that this was going to happen.
One Howard's attorney Paul Galvani was going to provide details on new drainage plans for the apartment building, which was one of the previous reservations from planning board members. While those documents have been submitted to the planning board, the public hearing will now be taking place on May 16th. Sticking with the planning board, they'll be holding a meeting tonight, Thursday the 25th, regarding the city's compliance with the MBTA Communities Act. Efforts to meet those state standards will be discussed during the meeting, which we'll be reviewing during next week's episode of The Frame. The Communities Act mandates that all municipalities with MBTA service have to meet certain zoning requirements, one of which is having at least one district permitted for multifamily housing as of right. As it stands right now, Framingham is in line with the MBTA Communities Act. However, the city could fall out of compliance at the end of 2024. A pair of updates now on 2 recent fatalities in Framingham. First, the Middlesex County District Attorney's Office and the city's police department have both confirmed the identity of the victim of what authorities have called a, quote, suspicious death, end quote, at a local home. 27-year-old Brooks Hood of Bridgeport, Connecticut was found dead by police at a home along Fenwick Street on the evening of April 10th. That matter of death is still pending a ruling. Meanwhile, Middlesex DA Marion Ryan and Framingham Police Chief Lester Baker announced that an investigation into an apparent homicide in the city has begun. 30-year-old Anthony Jr. Lopez was found dead behind Hot Table at Shoppers World at around 10 o'clock Saturday night. Anyone with any information on either of these cases are urged to contact the Middlesex DA's office or the Framingham Police Department. More details on the stories featured tonight and more can be found on our website, www.theframe.news. From municipal updates that matter to feature stories across the community, the newest source for local information has you covered. Be sure to subscribe to our email newsletter to ensure that you stay in the loop with us. Also, if you've got a story idea that you'd like us to cover, you're welcome to reach out to us. Give a call to 508-216-0003 or send us an email to theframe@accessfram.tv. Coming up next on The Frame, a spotlight on a local theater director in recognition of Autism Awareness Month, plus a look into the work done by the group Keep Framingham Beautiful. Stick around, we'll be right back.
One scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
When the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
I'm relying on luck, but who knows if it'll be on my side.
When it comes to disasters and emergencies, it's not a matter of if, but when. Take control. 1. Assess your needs. 2. Make a plan. 3. Engage your support network. Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell.
A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
Scary that it can be put into anything and we can't even see it or notice it.
Welcome back to The Frame. April is Autism Awareness Month, a time to celebrate the contributions of people on the autism spectrum and recognize the need to support and empower the autism community worldwide. For our weekly focus, we wanted to highlight a groundbreaking local theater director here in Framingham, Megan Loomis. Megan is an openly autistic director whose latest production, Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare, will be premiering at the Amazing Things Art Center downtown at the end of May. This past fall, however, Megan directed the first autistic-led production of A Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, a play based on the novel by Mark Haddon, in which a 15-year-old boy named Christopher investigates the murder of his neighbor's dog. In addition to Megan, Catherine McCracken, the lead actress who played Christopher in the production, is also openly autistic. Our colleague Andrea Sarvella sat down with Megan to learn more about the ways her own experiences with autism bring a necessary perspective to her work.
Just walk? Yeah, mind the table. I think we're just getting used to the space on the stage.
The show has a lot to do with autism. I'm autistic, and getting to explore that alongside Catherine, who's also openly autistic, was a really interesting challenge that I think taught us both a lot of things, that we were able to kind of work together, figure out what we could do, how do we explore this, how do we show this to an audience in a way that's going to make sense for the people who aren't autistic in the audience and for the people who are, allowing themselves to be seen on stage authentically for what may be the first time in their lives.
Most people think that the Milky Way is a long line of stars, but it isn't. Our galaxy is actually a huge disk of stars, millions of light years across. And
this was the second show I've ever worked on as an openly disabled person, and the first show I've ever worked on as an openly autistic person. Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime is a story that wasn't intended to be written about autism, as my understanding is. But it was very much about autism. Christopher is extremely autistic. And I think this play, and particularly in the way that Megan has taken her artistic vision, is really wonderful because it really reclaims what it means to be autistic. And this particular story, I think, highlights the intersectionality of autism and trauma, or complex PTSD, which is a highly common comorbidity, just really beautifully.
That was one of the things that was really interesting to me about this play, was that while it never directly says autism in the play, it never says it in the book, Christopher in the book, has every diagnostic criteria for autism and has kind of essentially been reclaimed by the community of, no, this is ours. And so, to my knowledge, I'm the first openly autistic person to direct this show. And I think when you're autistic and you look at the show, you look at it from a very different lens. You see things that other people might not see. And I wanted to kind of take this story that has largely been about a community without our input and do what we could with it with our input. There's a saying in the autistic community of nothing about us without us, of don't tell autistic stories without autistic people in them. And I think if you take that one step further, you put an autistic person behind the table, we have more power than just an actor in a room full of not autistic people. And so we have the ability to be able to kind of look at these stories that have largely been about us without us, and how do we use them to be able to tell our own narrative.
If you're interested in seeing Megan's next production, Much Ado About Nothing, you can scan the QR code on your screen now to learn more about it and get tickets. It's a classic Shakespearean tale of love, trust, and deceit, and this variation of it will have a neurodivergent, affirming spin on it. Again, you can see it at ATAC on Hollis Street downtown on both May 31st and June 1st. Curtains up for both performances will be at 7:30 p.m. Megan also shared with us how important audience accessibility is to her. She noted that a large part of autism is being sensitive to a variety of stimuli, which can vary from lighting to sounds and more. For that reason, Megan decided to omit strobe lighting from her Curious Incident production, while she was mindful of audio and sound choices as well. In addition to being sensory friendly, Megan also implemented a captioning system for those with hearing disabilities and had her cast read a description of their appearance prior to the start of the show for those with vision impairments. Switching gears to our forecast now, there is some beautiful weather on the horizon for us to start off our weekend. For Friday, you can expect clear skies with highs near 60 degrees and lows dropping down into the mid-30s. Mostly sunshine on Saturday as well, with highs in the mid-60s and lows in the mid-40s. As we move into Saturday night and Sunday morning, there will be a chance of showers before shifting to mostly cloudy skies throughout the day on Sunday, highs in the mid-60s once more, and lows in the low 50s. Speaking of the weather, we had some pretty nice conditions to celebrate Earth Day, which was this past Monday, the 22nd. Earth Day celebrates environmental activism and education, as well as efforts to take better care of our planet. With that in mind, the Frame spoke with some folks who know a lot about caring for our green spaces and beyond. Volunteers from Keep Framingham Beautiful. KFB does litter cleanups all over the city, as this was the third year in a row that they hosted a group cleanup of the entire Framingham Center Business District in preparation for the city's Earth Day Festival, which has since been postponed to this Saturday, the 27th, due to weather. The Frame's Mackenzie Wright caught up with Keep Framingham Beautiful's co-chair Michael Croce to learn more about the positive impact their team has on the community.
Right, thanks. I would guess of the 365 days in the year, there's at least one person from KFB that's out well over 300 days. And that's just like on the individual cleanup model, but in terms of a group setting, I think we did about 40 group cleanups last year. Our group actually got started partly because of Earth Day and the Earth Day Festival. So the Earth Day Festival has been running in Framingham for I think 12 years now, and it was originally founded as a way to kind of bring the entire environmental community of Framingham together. I was part of the planning committee for the Earth Day Festival for a number of years, and when we were planning for the what would have been the 10th annual festival in 2020, and the pandemic hit, our team was challenged with the fact that we couldn't have a big festival, obviously, in 2020, but we wanted to honor the mission of the festival in some way. The best idea that we could come up with was to encourage people to do litter cleanups. So for the first 6 months or a year, we actually didn't do any group cleanups. We just encouraged people to go out on their own whenever they're going on a walk and pick up trash wherever they see and post about it on our Facebook group. And so that's how we started. I always say that we kind of caught lightning in a bottle. Like we had a very captive audience in 2020 where people weren't working as much and weren't going to school and didn't have things to do, but they still wanted to do something real and meaningful. So when we put out the call to say like, hey, go pick up some trash, a lot of people got into it really quickly and we were able to kind of snowball the movement. I had no idea it was going to actually become something sustainable. I just thought it was like a short-term thing, like let's do something this year, but it just kept building and building, and then we eventually formed an official steering committee, and we have a 501c3 sponsorship via our parent organization, Keep Massachusetts Beautiful, and now we're just about 4 years in, kind of bigger and better than ever. We just keep finding new people that want to be aligned with our vision, which is ultimately litter-free Framingham. We think about it more from a community building perspective and from like a rallying cry around having like a care and dedication to our community and a belief that we can have nice things, really. So, by doing these cleanups, by being visible, by being out in the community and showing the rest of the community that we can care and that we can have a beautiful city, it just kind of perpetuates that notion. By being out there and having this visible representation, we're hoping to just inspire more people to care for their community, not just by picking up litter, but by doing it any way that's meaningful to you. We are very much focused on litter because that has been a major problem in Framingham, but we look way beyond that. Like the long-term vision of our organization is not just picking up litter, but building a sustainable and resilient community of people that actually just like truly care about the place they live.
Michael explained that most of the litter they pick up is non-biodegradable. He used the example of a plastic water bottle, which could last in the environment for 300, 400, or even 500 years, and is obviously not helpful to our ecosystem. Michael also mentioned that not all litter is intentional, but rather accidental. Sometimes the wind blows it out of our hands or it gets away from us. If you want to get involved in Keep Framingham Beautiful, you can visit their website at www.k-f-b.org. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at Keep Framingham Beautiful. Whether you're out keeping our city beautiful or just enjoying the nice weekend weather, we'd love to hear from you on social media. You can tag us on Instagram at @framenews_. The same goes for X. Follow us there for daily updates and tag us when you're out in the community. You can also subscribe to the Access Framingham YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new weekly episodes of The Frame go live. Check out our Facebook page as well, simply searching for The Frame. Before we step away for a moment, we want to take a look at some of the latest work our team here at Access Framingham has been working on. It's because of Access Framingham that we're able to bring you The Frame each week, and AFTV provides coverage of community events going on throughout the city. AFTV recently visited a complimentary tribute concert to the Great American Songbook at the Framingham Public Library, which was performed by the Mike Fritz Quartet on April 6th. 4 musicians performed jazz music from the 1920s to the 60s. Let's take a listen now. Welcome back in. Let's see what else is happening locally, as a drug take-back event will be taking place this Saturday, April 27th. Residents will be able to bring unused, unwanted, or expired medications, including pills, ointments, liquids, and patches, to the parking lot between the Memorial Building and the police headquarters between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. It's part of the nationwide Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, an initiative to safely dispose of these drugs. Donors will be anonymous with no questions asked during the event. The 11th annual Taste of Metro West is just a few days away as well. The best food and drink from across the region will be on display at the Verve Hotel in Natick on Monday the 29th. Guests are invited to sample all of the offerings and learn more about the local businesses that the Metro West area has to offer. Tickets are on sale now for $40 through the Metro West Chamber of Commerce. The event will be held from 5 to 8 p.m. With beautiful weather on the horizon this weekend, Framingham's Earth Day Festival is all set for Saturday, after being postponed last weekend due to bad weather, as we mentioned earlier on in the program. It's taking place from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Center Common. Activities for all ages, live music, and resources to keep Framingham eco-friendly and clean will all be provided at the 12th edition of the Fest. Items such as plastic bags, glasses, printer cartridges, rechargeable batteries, and coffee pods will all be accepted for recycling on site at the festival. Additionally, a drive-through service at First Parish Church will accept TVs, cell phones, computers, household appliances, and more. Head to FraminghamEarthDay.org to learn more about what is and is not eligible for collection during Saturday's event. Attendees are encouraged to support a local restaurant or bring their own food to the festival. On top of all that, local officials are reminding residents that its composting program is available. As a way to reduce municipal waste, backyard composting bins can be purchased by Framingham residents for just $25 through the city's sanitation division. To close out our show tonight, in celebration of Earth Day earlier this week, we wanted to revisit an art exhibition that was on display at the Project B Gallery at Mill 1 in Saxonville. Entitled A Few Degrees More, it was created by Framingham High School students from both the school's environmental club as well as the art department. The work displays different climate challenges. The piece was shot by Access Framingham's FEC TV and edited by one of our interns here at the station. Let's check it out.
I am proud to say that I am part of the project called A Few Degrees More, Climate Change in Framingham and Beyond. It's a collaborative project between the Environmental Awareness Club at Framingham and some of the art students within the art department. This show highlights 4 very specific climate crises that we want to show visually, but also through factual information.
So my project was working with coral bleaching group, which is what happens when the water gets warmer and the coral begin to die. It showcases a huge mural underwater that has a painted coral reef at the bottom. And this coral reef goes from healthy coral and it gradually turns into bleaching coral, which is dead. And on this mural is also 3D animals, which are arranged in a way to showcase that the coral bleaching is affecting animals as well.
So one of the climate issues that we represented in our art installation is an invasive species called the cowbird, and this invasive species is a parasite to a native species called the wood thrush, and these are native to Massachusetts. They are a songbird species. They're native to Framingham. It's connected to climate change because as forest habitats are more fragmented by people building and developing and making roads and things like that, the cowbird can more easily access these wood thrush nests, making it more of a threat. Another climate issue that we showcase in this art installation is some invasive water plants. The water hyacinth has these beautiful pink flowers that we have represented in the art exhibit, very large, and we have all these vines hanging around. It's kind of this very full area of the room. And the water hyacinth was first brought over to Massachusetts since it's invasive. It was brought over by people because of its beautiful flowers. It was an ornamental species, but now it has kind of grown out of control. It takes over waterways, it chokes them out, it prevents native species from growing there, it makes habitat loss for animals. So this is a very negative effect of people bringing over plants that are not supposed to be in this habitat that we wanted to showcase.
One of the issues we tackled with this project was flooding, and we were highly inspired by the Route 9 flooding issue in our town. Everyone lives through it, and it has become such a big issue. We see warmer weather and warmer water having a link to increased storms, and that increases flooding because of increased precipitation, especially from rain. This winter has been very warm, so the increased flooding has been due to increased storms and specifically the rain falling down.
So this has been such an amazing project because we have been able to really bring all these environmental issues that the Environmental Awareness Club is always thinking about and doing work with to life by collaborating with the art department. It's been an amazing experience for me personally and for all the students to get to know new people kind of in different fields. Kind of the art students get to know the science students and vice versa, and there are a lot of students who kind of overlap and did both. So this was really just a great, inspiring experience for everybody.
That's all for this week's Framingham News in Focus. On behalf of everyone here at The Frame, thank you for spending time with us tonight. I'm Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.